Here's the truth. Most of life with Parkinson's doesn't happen in the doctor's office. It happens in the little moments in between, struggling with buttons, trying to time meds on a road trip, or figuring out why your legs freeze in front of the fridge, but not when you're outside.
Today, we're talking about the messy, funny, frustrating, and very real space between appointments. Make sure to stay on for the whole podcast today as we have some thrilling and chilling news on freezing that you don't want to miss in our expertly general news segment. This is state of the art. In fact, it's downright sexy.
In a world where the ground feels shaky and memory is optional, two men will rise, armed with microphones, dry humor, and a suspicious number of pill bottles. They'll face tremors, stiffness, and the ultimate challenge, recording a podcast without forgetting what they were talking about. This is where Parkinson's gets real. This is Life in Motion, the Parkinson's podcast. Rated P for please take your meds first. Now, grab your earbuds, unless you forgot where you put them. Then just turn the volume up because today's episode is ready to go. Now, here are Bryce and Brian.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm Bryce, and I'm here with my buddy Brian. As always, Brian, how are you?
Doing great, my friend. Doing great.
Oh my God. And this is Life in Motion, the Parkinson podcast. I came on laughing, Brian, because every time I see a couple of those pictures, one got in the bathing suit holding the little dingy thing, it makes me laugh. So anyway, it just cracks me up. Oh man. Hey, this is an exciting episode, Brian. I mean, there's so much time. I didn't even ask you how long when your Parkinson appointments, your neurology appointments,
Yep.
how long in between? What's your gap?
I go 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah, 2, 3 times. I'm the same. I'm 6 months, every 6 months. And it's
Yeah,
been like that. I mean, I can call them and get in if I have something important, but
right.
generally it's every 6 months. Well, if you think about that, you spend, if let's just pretend that's 6 to 6
Yeah.
months. So that's 2 times a year. You spend 363 days with Parkinson's, right? And probably an hour and a half, if you're lucky, with
Oh,
your
it's hops.
neurologist, right?
That,
So
yeah, that would be on the high end, I would think. I think it's even under an hour.
exactly. So, I mean, there's a lot of crazy things that happen in between appointments, and we're going to talk about those today. And in the comments, what is the funniest or the most frustrating thing that Parkinson's has done to you between appointments? Like, what is it? What are those things that frustrate you? And you're like, oh my gosh, like, Brian, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. You're in the doctor's office. How do you do today? I'm doing okay. You kind of go through your rigmarole of what's been going on. And you know what? A day or two later, you leave and like a new symptom pops up. And it's like, damn it. Why not? Like you came now. I should have done this. Why didn't you come a week before my appointment so I could talk to my doctors about it? Right. That's
Yeah.
so frustrating. It's crazy. So in the comments, join us. What are those things? What is something that it is? And I actually, Brian, I'd love everybody to comment too, is we have listeners and people watching and listening from all around the world, and it's different everywhere. So we're
Mhm.
both in Canada, and we're pretty, again, starting around that 6 month turn. But I'd love to hear in the comments, just put how, what am I trying to say? How often in between appointments? What's the
Yeah.
gap? How often do you see your neurologist? Right? Am I saying the right way?
Yeah, no, exactly. So how often do you go and what does that gap look like? Like for me, my appointment is 20 to 30 minutes. If I go twice a year,
Yeah,
that's 40 to 60 minutes. It's an hour a year,
that's it. A
right?
year,
So you got to be prepared because if you're only going for that limited amount of time and there's such a gap in between,
right?
you should have a checklist it should just be like a running shopping list, right? That you keep
100%.
adding. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do. 100%. And that's why it's important. Like I mean, of course, Brian and I, we kind of pick fun at some of our symptoms and things that we do. And we're going to do that as well today. So hopefully you're going to enjoy that. But we'll also give you some tips and some tricks on what you can do to best prepare for that appointment. Because again, you've got a small amount of time, a couple times a year, at least in our for us anyway. But anyway, you tell us, how often do you see your doctor? And is there anything you do to prepare for it? But why don't we get a little bit into this, Brian? And I'm going to
Sure.
tell you something here. So I'll never forget. It was about a year ago. About a year into my diagnosis, right?
Okay.
And I was sitting in the waiting room, thinking to myself, okay, I've got 20 minutes with this neurologist, right?
Exactly.
And we're going to fix this. We're going to fix it. And then I remember leaving, and I'm thinking, and then all of the real work started at home. right? Like that first night,
Yeah.
I sat at the dinner table, fork in hand, and my tremor decided to play ping pong with my mashed potatoes. Things are flying everywhere. And, that wasn't in the appointment notes. He didn't say, like, get ready. Here's what, this may
Yeah.
happen to you today. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we didn't talk about that. But, again, those 20 minutes, how are they supposed to, think about this?
Yeah.
How is a doctor supposed to tell you everything to expect in 20 minutes? And you're telling me everything that's going on in your life in 20 minutes and everything else. So a lot of it, wasn't in my notes, wasn't on my prescription pad. It hit me right then that Parkinson's is almost always, it's lived between the appointments. Those check-ins are check-ins, and we have to figure out how to do this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The appointments give you the plan, but the real life gives you the test. And we want to hear from our guest today. What was your first between appointment moment like? Because I think what we're going to find is, across the globe, it's probably fairly common. Because I know some stats that I've heard recently, whether in webinars or just hanging around Parkinson's conversations. The wait list for neurologists is like 2 to 5 years, depending on your geography.
Yeah, it's awful. It's so bad. I mean, you think about it. You wait your 2 to 3, like, mine wasn't as much a wait list. That was 15 years ago. But mine was, again, going through all these different appointments just to figure out I should see a neurologist. But you think about that for someone's frustration today, Brian. You're waiting 2-3 years to get to see this magic neurologist or a specialist. They tell you have Parkinson's and we'll see you in 6 months. And it's like, and you waited so long. It's like, here's your big moment, and now they are gonna tell you everything you need to do to be better and be fixed up, and what to expect, and how to handle that, and then we walk out of there going like, oh boy, and that's why this community and why it matters so much, right? Sharing hacks, not just us, but you look through the comments, every video we do, Brian, everywhere on the channel, everybody's sharing their own hacks, recipes and diet and how they were handling this. But everybody shares hacks. We're sharing frustrations and we're sharing laughs, because the daily grind is where we're either going to lose it or we're going to be okay or adapt to it. And so that's why it's important.
Yeah, and then you get your neurologist assigned to you. You don't really know what their background is. Do they have expertise, knowledge, general knowledge around Parkinson's? Because we've said this a few times before. Like, there's about 110,000 people in Canada that are affected by Parkinson's.
Yeah,
and to most people out there, that probably doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're one of the 110,000, it's pretty important.
oh my
right?
God,
So
one. If it was one, Brian, if it was two, and it was me and you, it's damn important, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
totally.
you got to make sure you want to advocate for yourself, but you need to take it that one step further and make sure that they've got some background that you can tap into. Because personally, me going into this disease, I have zero background, and I come to recognize most people are similar.
You're so right. That's such a good point. And so, whether you're newly diagnosed or whether you're warriors like Brian and I have been doing this for years, because Parkinson's is a progressive disease, it changes all the time, right? So, in other words, for me, for example, let's give some examples. So, here's an example. For me, stiffness. Stiffness is my biggest symptom, my most predominant symptom. Stiff, all the time, stiff. And, some mornings, it feels like I'm made of concrete. And when we talk about the Tin Man and we need the oil and we're stuck and all this kind of stuff. So we had to find out tricks and hacks and things that we had to do to make it easier on ourselves to get to even, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to phone the doctor and say, I'm stiff again. And, whatever. So we have to figure out tricks and hacks and how we do it. For me, there's a bunch. I have a whole bunch, like hot showers, right? Stretching, my magnesium spray. I love. It's like a part. My magnesium spray. It's almost like, to me, Brian. Like, okay, I'm pretty. I'll be honest. I'm pretty. I don't know what my wife calls me, a high maintenance metrosexual, because I just. I mean, I like my hair a certain way. I like my cologne. I like to smell good, look good if I can, But for me, my magnesium spray has become like my cologne. Like it's like a daily, like I'm spraying in the morning, I'm spraying when I go to bed. But it does it doesn't solve everything, but it gets me moving enough to start the day. And this hacks like those little things, the magnesium spray. I wouldn't. Someone mentioned it one time in the comments. They mentioned the magnesium spray, and they mentioned my pill cap timer. That two things now that I don't know what I do without, and it's
Well,
amazing.
it's
So
funny you bring
that's
that
what
up
it is.
because I edified your magnesium spray earlier today with someone I was chatting to, newly diagnosed with
Yeah,
Parkinson, and it's her husband that's affected, and he's having struggles with his legs. So I stole
I'm
from you,
telling
my
you,
friend.
man, it's like magic. I'm telling you, it's the
I
spray
told
to
her that. I
my
told her that.
ankles, my calves, my legs, and I don't know if it's just in the brain. I don't know it. But I don't care. It worked. I mean, and it's like everything just relaxes. It's like a muscle relaxant. It's like pretty freaky cool.
Yeah,
Really cool.
I gotta get me some of that.
It's good. Yeah, the links in the we'll put a link in the. It's always in the product links or whatever. But it's not expensive. The only thing is that sometimes like if you don't use it for a bit, like the salt I guess like piles up on the outside, and I'm scraping salt, and then for the rest of the day, no matter what I do, I can wash my hands 100 times, brush my teeth 100 times, and I go like this. And, oh, it's salty. Like I feel like I have
Yeah,
salt everywhere.
it's
It's
funny.
crazy. So those little hacks, Brian. What about you? So again,
Yeah,
one of my hacks for stiffness. What do you like? Like, what about you? What's the
yeah.
things you deal with?
I can relate to the stiffness, but it's also fatigue for me. It's that sudden wall that shows up. It's usually midday because I'm fairly productive in the morning, but as the mid afternoon starts to approach, it's like the sun sets on Brian kind of thing. But one trick I've learned is to build in recharge time. Like I'll just take 10 minutes. I might go read something about the sport world, or I might just go have a moment, 10 minutes by myself of just quiet. But I know that if I push through and don't do that, I pay for it later. And your
Yeah,
symptoms can spike when you have fatigue, anxiety, and these things, right? So I'm very
absolutely.
very conscious of that and very deliberate in taking a break. There's nothing wrong with a break.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And Brian, fatigue is real, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
and we've said it before. We're not talking just tired. It's like Parkinson's tired is a totally different thing.
it
And
is.
and I think you're right what you just said about the spikes. And again, I'm very anal about tracking my symptoms and when things are happening. And I can guarantee you, especially in the beginning when I started doing that, as I started going, tracking how I was feeling during the day and what I did that day and how I took my meds that day to kind of try to see if I could get some consistency so I could look at some patterns to help things. I swear, Brian, that 99% of the time when I had a day where my symptoms flared up, I did not sleep well the night before. I was fatigued, or I had traveled all day. It's so true, so true.
Or even the thrill of having a good meeting, or you met somebody new that has Parkinson's, and you feel like your 30-second or 10-minute conversation made a whole difference in their world and their day.
Yeah,
those eyes are good too, but you got to balance
absolutely.
that with some downtime too.
100%. And as much as you said that is that's exhausting.
It
Not
is.
it's really exhausting. And I think that if you think about our bodies, so I think about the name of the podcast, Life in Motion. And when Brian and I when we were coming up with the name for the podcast, it kind of resonated with us because our bodies are always in motion as our life is in motion. So we're continually in motion. And sometimes we forget about that. And you think about that, sitting down and spending and pouring into somebody for an hour or talking to them for an hour or going through that for an hour. And you're controlling your symptoms, you're controlling your free, you're trying everything you can do to stay straight and stay on target and not get lost in this and don't forget everything, and you're trying to remember it. That's exhausting in itself. Really, it
Yeah,
really
and
is.
that's not going to make it to the neurologist's notes, right? Like I'm not going to go in and tell them I
Yeah,
had a really good 5-minute chat with somebody, but
yeah,
we need to be aware of the fact that those things are happening in between our appointments.
absolutely. It's funny. I just got back after being on the road for almost 2 weeks, and my wife had Carmen, she had a conference that she had to attend in Vancouver. So again, they're a week, but what that meant was that every night was a dinner, and it was a dinner with people, like lots of people, different
Mm,
people. So after, so after a week straight of that, I'm wiped out. Like I could, just completely zapped. But
I get it.
but it's here I am sitting with now talk about the life in examples in real life. I mean, like, yeah, I think about the stiffness, I think about you saying fatigue, but what about just the stupid dumb stuff, like the embarrassing stuff? Like, okay, so when I was in the restaurant this week, two times, not once, okay, not once, Brian, because everybody can do it once, twice now, twice I dropped forks underneath the table. Now, you get away with one. Oh, oops, oops, there goes my fork. Ma'am, can I have another fork? Sure, no problem. Well, 5 minutes later, and you have to ask the waitress to come back and give you another fork. And she looks at you kind of like, are you stealing forks? Like, where are you putting the forks? Why do you need forks? And I'm like, they're all under the table. I was a collection of them down below. And, it's so embarrassing, almost like I almost was going to say at one point in time, like, don't give me any spoons for soup. I'll drink it with straws, right? Because it's like, I don't want utensils. I don't want to hold them. And then the next place we went to was so funny. I said to Carmen, and I think that sometimes life. Okay, Brian, I think sometimes life picks on me. I'm gonna say because I know what it is. I know it's I know it's karma, but so we were left the restaurant, and Carmen's like, "Whoa, what was going on with your fingers? Like you had a bad finger day today." And I'm like, "Yeah, like two in a row." I said, "But those forks were so light, like they were so light, they kept kind of slipping out of my hands." And so I said, I need like big, heavy forks. Well, okay. The next night, we get to this other restaurant, and I swear to God, they brought me like the Roman or the gladiator days. This fork that weighed 700 pounds, and I couldn't even. Then I had trouble manipulating it with my. So I think life picks on me, but it was either too light, I dropped them, or too heavy, and I could not get my fingers to work right around them to get the food to my mouth.
When I do that, I drop a fork or a spoon or something. I just say to them, hey, next one you bring me, can you bring it with training wheels? We have a chuckle, and it kind of buries it a little bit, right?
That's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. That's so true. Well, and I don't want to be that guy. Like again, I don't mind the stigma. Stigma doesn't bother me. I don't care who knows I have Parkinson's, but I also
Yeah.
don't need to walk into a restaurant and you know, it's like I have walk up music. Like everything stops. The thing goes black. They put a spotlight on me, and I walk in. This guy has Parkinson's because I feel like I'm I don't want to be the guy that has to reach into his pocket and bring out his own utensils everywhere I go. It's like, they draw attention. I'm not that type of person that wants to draw attention to it. I'm not afraid of the attention, but I also don't want to draw it, and that can be hard to kind of not manipulate, but to move under as well.
Agreed, 100%.
I don't know, but it's that everyday stuff, and I think that's the stuff that's hard to handle. Again, whether you're newly diagnosed or whether you've been, look at Ryan, you 10, I'm 15.
Right.
We're still talking about shit that we dealt with the second we got diagnosed, right? It's the same stuff. There is new stuff. Don't get me wrong, and new stuff I don't like either. But there's some of this. I've been stiff since before I knew I had Parkinson's till today. Nothing's changed except for a little magnesium spray now in the last year, or tried a little this or a little stretch like that. So we need to continually work on these things. And if someone's watching today and they're like, hey, what are these guys talking about? I'm not stiff. I don't have any fatigue. Well, guess what? You know what? You have something else that you can apply these to, or just hold on. It'll come.
Exactly.
It'll be there. It'll be there. Well, you know what, Brian? You said something today in the intro that just got me fired up. And I don't know what it is, and probably it shows my maturity. I think you said the word sexy, and that was like I was like, what the heck? What the heck? So, how about this? How about it's time for Brian's expertly general news? What have you got for us today, Brian? I'm excited, by the way.
I was really excited when I found this information, and I'm gonna dive right in and get going here. But this is called cracking the code of freezing in Parkinson's. So have you ever had your phone freeze at the worst possible moment? You're mid-text or trying to pull up directions and suddenly there's nothing there. Now imagine that happening not to your phone, but to your legs. That's what people with Parkinson's experience when they go through something called freezing of gait. You're walking and suddenly it feels like your feet are glued to the floor. It's scary, frustrating, and it can lead to falls. But here's the cool part. This week, scientists may have found a way to predict who will freeze and how badly using a brand new type of brain scan. And this could change the game for Parkinson's and how we care for people. And really, the science is made simple. Researchers used a high-tech brain scan. It's called diffusion MRI. Think of it like Google Maps for the brain. It doesn't show the roads, it shows the traffic flow. They zoomed in on part of the brain called the supplementary motor area, or SMA. This is basically the traffic controller for movement. It helps coordinate the signals that tell your legs when to move. And here's what they found. It's not the size of this brain region that matters. It's the microstructure. In other words, how healthy and connected the wires are inside the SMA. People whose SMA wiring look weaker were more likely to have severe gait problems and freezing. That means diffusion MRI scans could become a biomarker, a measurable signal to predict who is most at risk. They can predict it, which is unheard of. Why it's sexy? Why is this a big deal? Because right now, gait freezing can sneak up on people with Parkinson's. Doctors don't always know who's going to struggle the most or when. But imagine this future. Your neurologist could look at your MRI and say, you're showing early signs of gait risk. Let's adjust your therapy, maybe add stimulation or rehab strategies before freezing ever becomes a problem. That's not just treatment. That's personalized and that's predictive. They can predict it. It's taking Parkinson's from a reactive disease to a proactive one. And that's why this is so exciting or sexy. It's futuristic. It's like a Formula One precision pit crew work for the brain. Instead of waiting for things to go wrong, we might be able to tune the brain in advance and keep people moving smoothly. So in closing, the next time you think about MRI scans, don't just picture a hospital with a noisy machine. Picture a tool that can unlock freedom of movement, prevent falls, and help people with Parkinson's stay in motion. This new research is still early days, but it's a glimpse into a future where Parkinson's care is smarter and more personalized and more empowering. And to me, that's a breakthrough worth working for.
Wow. That's crazy.
Like, predictive.
I know. Isn't that wild? Like what? Like that's
When I was leaving IT and retiring, they had this predictive analytics stuff come out for your enterprise infrastructure. And it was similar to this, where it could predict if there was going to be a failure in your IT. Well, you are the IT here. It is you.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way, right? So like this, that's why.
Wow.
I said sexy. This is just, and it's real.
It's real. Right? It's real. It's real. And that's, I know the word sexy. It can be used for different things, but for me, that's sexy. It's real. It's new. It's something I haven't thought about. Right. It's caught my attention like right off the bat. And you know what? And speaking of predicting your IT failures, man, I'll tell you what, I'm predicting that you are on a roll with your IT lately. That's amazing because you have been hitting it. But anyway, thanks, Brian. That's, you know what? That's really interesting stuff. And you know, again, week after week now, that's, it's been a big deal in the comments. You know, in the comments, I'd love people to hear. Have you heard that before? What do you think about? What are your thoughts on that? And how many people would agree and give me a big thumbs up, or give Brian a big thumbs up that was very sexy? Boom. Not Brian, and not me, but the information. The information was sexy. I think that deserves a thumbs up. So anyway, thanks, Brian. That was fantastic.
I'm going to keep my eye on this one as we go forward, Bryce. If I hear more on it, I'll certainly bring it forward.
Yeah, please do. I think that's one thing we're gonna have to do is have an update show, because I mean, people are going to be wanting to know, because it's the stuff that you're bringing forward in these segments are so incredible that you know, I can almost see it kind of almost doing like a quick hit and then an update, right? Like, because there's so many things like. Wow. Anyway, it's really, really cool. That's why, Brian, that's why you have been dubbed the expert generalist by everybody, because it's amazing. So no, I love it. I love it. But you know one thing though, Brian, I know one thing that you're really good at is being the expert generalist and bringing these new segments. And I know another thing that you're sometimes really good at and sometimes you struggle at. You know what that is?
Yeah, it must be time for my good friends Shakey and Fakey.
Let's get into it!
Get ready for the only game show where the stakes are low, but the side eyes are high. It's time for Shakey or Fakey, the game where one fact is true, one is totally made up, and Bryce and Brian pretend they studied. Will they nail the neuroscience or flunk the funk? Play along in the comments and see if you can beat the bros. Let the Shakey showdown begin.
All right, guess what? Here we go. Shakey or Fakey time. If this is the first time you've ever watched this, where have you been? You've missed everything. No, I'm just teasing. You can go back and watch all of the old episodes. But this is where I'm going to ask Brian a series of questions, and he's going to decide whether they're true, and they'll be that's Shakey, or whether they're made up by me, and that's Fakey. And so in the comments, we want you to play along with us. Everybody does. It's so much fun. And just put a 1 and just put Shakey, or 2 Fakey, or even just a 1S and a 1. It's funny. Everybody's got their own stuff now, Brian, right? Like it's now it's like 1S and 1F or whatever. The funniest one there was one last week, I think was there it was like 1, Shakey, 2 Fakey, 3 Shakey, and then 4 was I didn't realize I wasn't live. This was from last week. And I went like, that's great. Play along, because we're playing along with it. So I think it's fantastic and fun. And then at the end, just tally up your score. See if you can beat Brian. So if you be like 4 out of 6 or 4 to 10, or depends how many questions we have. And really the amount of questions we have depends on how well Brian's doing. Because if he's doing really well, I keep throwing more questions in. So we'll see how it goes. But I think we got some good ones for you today, Brian, and everybody playing. So you ready to rock?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we go. Here's question number 1. And now I'm going to just preface this by saying, please listen very carefully to the questions, because some of them might be kind of tricky. All right, here it is. Question number 1. If your medication is working well during your neurologist appointment, it means that your dose is perfectly optimized for daily life. If your medication is working well during your neurologist appointment, it means your dose is perfectly optimized for daily life. Everybody, 1 Fakey or 1 Fakey. You decide. And Brian, just so we're clear, we are not live. So you can't ask the audience for help.
Fair enough.
There you go, my man. All right.
So I'm going to go. You know what? I could lean a lot of different ways on this. I'm going to go Fakey.
You're going to go Fakey, and guess what, Brian? You would be correct. You are very, very correct. Don't forget, as people, just because it's working at one moment, those, in that moment, it's not reflecting fluctuations from your meals, your stress, or real world routines, what's going on in your life. I mean, we talked about it in the beginning. There's so much of different things can affect your symptoms. So you are correct. You are 1 for 1, Brian. We are 1 for 1, 1 for 1. And you know what? If we ever get a sponsor for the podcast, then we'll make sure then we'll get a scoreboard and everything else. So we don't have to remember what we got. So anyway, 1 for 1. All right. Here's number 2. Here's question number 2. Non-motor symptoms like anxiety or sweating can be a sign your medication is wearing off, just as much as tremors or stiffness. Non-motor symptoms like anxiety or sweating can be a sign that your medication is wearing off, just the same as tremors or stiffness. So in other words, I guess to sum that up, when you're going off, is it just, outer things like tremors and stiffness, or is it cognitive things start to pop up as well? So what do you figure? Would that be would that be a Shakey, or would that be a Fakey? True or false?
That's a Shakey.
That is absolutely a Shakey. That is absolutely Shakey. Wearing off isn't just motor. Matter of fact, for me, Brian, when I start to go off, I know I'm starting to go off because before the stiffness comes, I start getting kind of foggy brain head, little headache comes on, start getting foggy. I'm like, ooh, it's starting to, I can feel it coming. That's my very first sign that's listening to my body. So
get the Brian fog.
Get the brain, the Brian fog, exactly. Yes. I always forget to say that. Darn it. Yes,
I got you.
Okay. Okay. So far we're 2 for 2, which is a good start, right, Brian?
Oh yeah,
I think so. All right.
Can't do any better than
that. Who can do better than that? I don't think anybody can do better than that. So you're 2 for 2.
Okay.
You are 2 for 2, and I just want to make sure I got the right questions, because these seem so easy, and I thought I had really, really hard ones.
The first one was a little tricky.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Here's question number 3. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3. Freezing can always be fixed by adding more levodopa to your schedule. Freezing can always be fixed by adding more levodopa to your schedule.
I'm going to go Fakey.
You're going Fakey on that one? Well, you are the expert on freezing, the general expert on freezing. So you're absolutely right. Freezing isn't purely a dopaminergic.
Yeah, that's a big word.
Right?
Good for
you like
you.
That one? Look at that one.
I like the fact you could say it. I couldn't.
Well, I don't know if I said it right, Brian. I was just going with it, though.
It rolled, baby. It rolled.
Dopaminergic. Dopaminergic. Okay, there it is. Freezing is, Brian. Here, watch. Brian, freezing isn't just dopaminergic, right? It can persist. It can persist even on medication. Anyway, that's the big word, isn't it? Anyway, so you're absolutely right. That was false, right? So it's not just from
All right.
dopamine. It can persist, even on medication. So
Okay.
3 for 3. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Now I call in the shakeup.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
Yeah.
So, okay. I just have to find it. Here we go. Here
Okay.
comes the shakeup. I got it right here. Here it comes. Yeah. Oh, that's the wrong one. All right, here we go, Brian. I'm so sorry. I'm losing
Number
my
4.
my
No, we're
cue
good.
keys.
A little pause for the cause.
All right, this is number 4.
Yep.
Okay, here it is. I froze in the doorway at a bank. Oh, look at the little shake up here, right? I froze in the doorway at a bank, and the security guard thought I was casing the place.
Mm.
He actually asked, jokingly, of course, if I was waiting for an accomplice. Is that shaky or fakey? Now, if it's the first time you've seen us, these are taken right from our comments from viewers, from either DMs or viewers in the comments. So this either somebody actually said this to us, Brian, in the comments or in the DMs, or Bryce made this up. Would you like me to read it, or you're
No,
good?
I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good. So
Yeah.
I hope it's shaky, because I hope that there's a few security guards out there with a sense of humor, because I think that's brilliant. If you wrote it, good on you. You're brilliant. If
Thank you,
that
sir.
security guard did it, good on him. He's got a long career ahead of him.
Thank you, sir. I wrote that completely by myself.
Yeah, I know.
I actually thought, to be honest with you, Brian, I was nervous about that one. So nervous, because I was going to say teller, and then security guard sounded better. But then I thought, do all banks still have security guards at the front? I don't know the last time I've been inside a bank, to be honest. I think I just used, so I don't know.
I was at a grocery store yesterday, like a little corner grocery store, and they had a security guard.
At the grocery store?
Yeah.
Are you living in the hood?
I was in Newmarket. I don't know.
Well, okay, so check this out. I was in Vancouver all week, and we stayed at the Fairmont downtown. Now, again, it was my wife's work, so it wasn't on, that was where they put people up. And you walk out the door, on the side of that store, it was Prada, Gucci, blah, 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 and every store had security guards.
Wow.
So I kind of said to Carmen that we should make a new rule in our life and marriage that, if we see a store that has a security guard, it's probably a store that we're not supposed to be in.
Yeah, exactly. So that's your best one so far.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. All right. So that makes you 2 for 3, right? 2 for 3?
3 for 4.
3 for 4. Okay, 3 for 4. All right. So did you get that? I hope that if that was a good one, hit like on that one for Bryce, because Bryce gets about one episode. So, okay, here we go. I went to sign my name at the pharmacy, but my hand was shaking so much. The pharmacist said, "No problem. We'll discount that as a modern art signature." I went to sign my name at the pharmacy, but my hand was shaking so much. The pharmacist said, "No problem. We'll discount that as a modern art signature." Did someone really say that, or did Bryce make that one up? Brian, what do you think there, buddy?
So here's my thoughts. It's the same as the last one. I haven't met too many pharmacists that have a sense of humor. So I'm hoping it's shaky. And because of that, I'm going to go with shaky.
Well, I love the way you deducted that, because I thought for sure you would think I made this one up. Because you know what I couldn't figure out? What the hell were they signing at a pharmacy?
Could have been the visa slip.
I thought about that, but isn't that old school? Do you still sign? No, you still sign. You're right.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. Okay, you're right. It was shaky. That was from viewers' comment. And if you made that comment, and please let us know what you signed, because I as soon as I read it, I'm like, oh my God, I thought Brian's going to say, well, what were they signing? And I'm going to say, well, I don't know. And it's like, I thought it was going to be dead. I thought it was going to be dead. Okay, well, that's awesome. Good job. So now you're 3 for 5.
4 for 5, but that's okay.
Oh, you got that one right.
Yes.
I was so shocked. Yeah, it's shaky. Yeah, it's shaky. You got it right. All right.
You got another
Okay,
one?
I got one. I'm gonna throw one more at you then. I'm gonna
Okay.
throw one more viewer comment at you and everybody else. So whatever you have, Brian is 4 for 5, and if anybody's 5 for 5, put that. No, I don't care when you're watching this. This could be a year later. Put 5 for 5 up beating Brian. Because let's see it and let's see if you can beat him. This is the final one to beat him with. Here we go.
All right.
I was at the grocery store trying to pick up a jar of spaghetti sauce. My tremor was so bad I dropped it, and it exploded like a crime scene. I told the clerk, "Don't worry, it's just a saucy symptom of Parkinson's." Ooh, I love that sound. I was at the grocery store trying to pick up a jar of spaghetti sauce. My tremor was so bad I dropped it, and it exploded like a crime scene. I told the clerk, "Don't worry, it's just a saucy symptom of Parkinson's." So this is Brian. This is to keep your 90% or your 95% intact, because you don't want to go 4 for 6. I know you don't want to go for 6. I know you don't want to end on this note. So you're sitting there trying to figure out, did Bryce make this up? And you're trying to look for inflections and different things. I'd say like, that sounds like Bryce, or did someone actually say this in a comment or
Saucy sounds like Bryce because you are a little saucy, but I'm going to go with Shakey. And
damn it, you're right. Yes, you're right. That was Shaky. That was Shaky all the way. That was, and I loved it so much. I was, yes, I wanted to own it. I wish I would have said it. I thought it was very clever. Saucy symptom. I like that so much. But no, that was definitely that someone said that in. So congratulations, Brian.
It feels great.
Congratulations. Like you must feel so wonderful about yourself right now. But no, that's really good. That 4 for 6. That is so good. And I kind of, are you liking the way we're throwing in? We're throwing in like viewers and the questions.
5
you
for
liking
6.
that one? Okay. Well, I appreciate. Yeah, but what?
5 for 6.
4 for 6.
Not 4.
No, you were 5 or 6. You're totally. I'm so sorry. Did I rip you off? You're right.
Pretty much.
5 for 6. 5 for 6. 5
Brian,
for 6.
here's a gold medal. Never mind. Here's a silver. Like you can't do that.
No, you can't do that. But I do have one question for you.
Sure.
And I'm just figuring that we should probably go all in on this one.
Uh-oh.
Would you like to risk your 5
risk
for
it
6?
all. Here we go, Johnny.
Would you like to risk that 5 for 6 and go for the bonus question and risk it all and leave here with nothing if you lose, or remaining grand champion if you win?
Curtain number 1, curtain number 2 are the box that Jay has in the aisle. That's what I'm hearing.
That's what it is. And doesn't, you know what, to be honest, whichever one you pick is going to be the same box. It's going to be yes,
the way I see it is if I say no to this, you'll disappoint a lot of people.
So
you know what? I'm in a corner. I got a paintbrush. Let's do it.
It's for the people, Brian. It's all for the people. That's 100%. Why you do it. That's why I do it. Well, I got one good one for you because this one actually. This one sounds really cool. Okay, ready? Here it is. Last one. Last question. This is for all the marbles. I wish we had that music.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, here it is. Levodopa is absorbed mainly in the stomach, which is why protein interferes with it. Levodopa is absorbed mainly in the stomach, which is why protein interferes with it. Ooh, this is a mind burner. This one.
I know because it's carbidopa, levodopa, right?
Is what? Yeah, it's levodopa carbidopa. Yeah.
Sorry, I said it backwards. But levodopa, carbidopa. So yeah. I know for a fact carbidopa is like the express toll route. It takes the levodopa to the brain.
Oh, it's like the bus.
But the carbidopa can't go in the brain. It's just the express toll road that gets it to the exit faster. Okay, so that doesn't answer the question.
That's really crazy. That's a side swipe.
It confuses me more because if it gets consumed in the stomach, then maybe that's why the carbidopa is there, is to speed it up and get it back on track. So I'm going to go.
Brian, this is expertly general news because I didn't know any of this.
Stick around, kid. You do all right. I'm going to go Shaky.
You're going to go Shaky on that one? Shaky true? Okay. Well, before I give you the answer, let me ask you this. If carbidopa is the bus that the levodopa gets in to get the ride to the brain, right? That's what we're saying?
Yep.
If you and I were either, if one was a levodopa and one was a carbidopa, who would you be?
I would be the levodopa. I'd be the guy doing all the heavy lifting.
You would. So I'd just drive you to the business. I'd just
You'd
drop
be,
you
you'd
off.
be, you'd be driving me in a convertible with your good-looking Gucci suit on.
But you know what I would be doing while I was driving you?
Hit me.
I'd be bragging
That you won and I lost.
that I won and you lost.
All right,
And
I'll
it's-
exit. I'll exit here.
Thank you. So, make a U-turn when available. Make a U-turn
Exactly.
when available. It's Fakey.
All right.
It's absorbed in the small intestines, delayed gastric emptying, and protein competition both matter. So it's not in the gut, actually. It goes into the small intestine. So I guess I just there's not a
So I was right, but I was wrong because it was the wrong.
you're right
branch.
but wrong. Exactly. Yeah,
Got
you
it.
got off at
Okay.
the wrong stop. That's all.
Okay, that's fair.
But that was wonderful. That was a really good question, and I think even
That was
better
a
than
great question because I knew something about it. But
right.
I
And
knew
it
the
was-
generalist part, not the expert. I got to get better.
Yeah, and I learned from that too, and hopefully everybody else did too.
I hope that's why we're here.
That's it for this round of Shakey or Fakey, where the facts are fuzzy and the fun is fully intentional. Think you can do better? Sign up to be a guest and take on Bryce or Brian in a future showdown. Just follow the link in the description, and you might be the next contestant on Shakey or Fakey. Cue the awkward outro music.
All right. Well, that was fun. As I
Awesome.
said, I was a kid.
It's
I
the
actually
best one
learned
in a
that
while, actually.
stuff. I really enjoyed that. I really
Yep.
enjoyed it. And but you know what would have been better if we had someone playing with us.
Yeah, always.
Wouldn't that be good? So if you want to be on with us and come on live with us, there is a form in the description. Fill it all out and come play with us. It'll be a lot of fun. And again, just to wrap it up, in the comments, put what you put. You know, did you win? Did you get that last question right? Did you join Brian on the bus to the I don't know where we were going, wherever I dropped him off on, or whatever. But I think that was really fun. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you playing along with me in that. But now let's shift though. Let's shift. We talked about some challenges in the beginning, right? We talked about the things, the stiffness. We talked about, the being fatigued and everything else. Well, let's shift to solutions, right? Let's change from challenges to solutions, because yes, Parkinson's is tough, but we have the tricks, we have the hacks, and we have little victories that can make your day easier. So, and I mentioned a little bit earlier in the segment, for me, my biggest tip right now that I'm using, and again, so thankful to the person that first brought this to me, but it's my pill timer cap that I use relentlessly. It shows me the last time, so I'm 2 hours and 6 minutes ago, I took my last set of pills, which means I've got about 40 minutes left till I take my next ones. I never have to ask, did I already take it? I can check it without panicking. And this tiny gadget, I'm telling you, it saved me so many times, but especially this last 2 weeks traveling, Brian, time zones, changes, and everything else, and Carmen being gone most of the day, with being separated and doing everything. I mean, it would be like, boom, she's like, hey, when'd you last take your meds? 1 hour and 10 minutes. It was such a lifesaver for me, and I just stand by that to no end. So
that's a beauty. Absolutely. Yeah, for me, I've learned that rhythm is my best friend. I've actually, through Parkinson's, lost my ability to whistle. Don't know if you knew that was a thing or not, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, so I can't whistle. So when
you used to whistle though, like you whistled before.
Yeah, and you can do the 2 fingers thing, and I can't do any of those anymore.
No kidding. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
So I've learned that rhythm is my best friend, and when I'm struggling to walk, because I like to do my 30-minute walk every day, along with my stretching and light weights, I hum a song, like "Walking on Sunshine," like "Katrina and the Waves" or something like that. I try to make it something upbeat, or I'll play the song on my iPhone and then hum along as I'm walking, because I can feel the vibration, right? And suddenly my feet find the beat and I can move again, and it's almost like flipping a switch, because I get a nice little stride going, and it's my stride, so I don't have to try to keep up or back with anybody. It's my pace. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I love it. My problem is when I hum, I accidentally start humming, like I start saying, like, "We will rock you, we will rock you." I get all fired up. I start swinging my arms and stuff. It's really cool. But I actually did one of the last podcasts I did on the other podcast, and it was talking about that exact same thing. And someone put in the comments, and other people are saying, "Oh, that's a good one." Was what she did, and I wish I could remember who it was. I think it was Susie. I think it was Susie. I mean, I could be wrong, but she starts humming, or Judy. I can't remember. She starts singing. These boots were made for walking.
Love it. Nancy
And
Sinatra.
right. And that's what I'll do. These boots were made for walking. And I'm going to walk all over you.
I
And
gotta try
everybody's like,
that
that
one. I
is
like
such a
it.
really cool one, right? So, and you can always remember those words. So that's the one thing. It just gets that brain back into like we're doing this, right? It's like that's flipping that switch, like you said. So
Yeah.
I think that's really, really cool. Now, how about this? You tell us what's your little victory, right? It doesn't have to be big victories. Like these are things that we found, things that we're doing. Maybe it's buttoning your shirt faster. Maybe it's getting through a meal without dropping anything, like I was talking about. Or post it in the comments, and we'd love to celebrate those wins with you, because those are huge. And Brian, it's funny because we when we start talking about these hacks and tricks, we go to our number ones, right? Like our number one things that like you're talking about, like freezing, right? Things that really your fatigue, freeze, mind stiff. And again, not that we all don't deal with them. Some of us just either have a harder problem with them, or they're just things that bug us more, right?
Yeah.
But we can't forget caregivers, right?
Absolutely not.
Like Gloria and Carmen, they see stuff that doctors never see, right?
Yeah.
Like me trying to shave when my trimmer's in full swing, right? So my wife, she has to be patient, but she's also the one that nudges me along, to log my symptoms. Like, and I'm not, and even though I'm the biggest advocate for it, sometimes I get lazy and procrastinate. Like, oh, I'm not going to write that down. She's like, no, write it down, because you're not going into your next appointment guessing, right? We want to know what's going on.
No, the caregivers are the unsung heroes for sure. For those in between spaces, they're the queens. So they get us through it for sure. They carry the weight with us. They manage the schedules. Like Lori does my pills every 2 weeks, and it's a art and a science for her to do that. But they help us in the hard moments. They notice changes before we do, which I find that one really helpful, right? Especially if you're trying to change something in your day-to-day curriculum or whatever. I could just say, be another set of eyes for me. Am I doing this or am I doing that, kind of thing, right? And it's good to have them in your corner helping you out with that stuff, because I think they feel good about that too, right? Because sometimes they help us on the sidelines, and if I can give her a reason, to help me out, roll up your sleeves, give me a hand here, honey. This is all good.
Brian, you know what? That's so important. You just said that, and you're right. It's good for them too, because how sometimes we say when we got diagnosed or we find out it's something with Parkinson's, we're like, oh my God, we're not crazy. Like this really was happening. Yeah. I think a lot of times our caregivers are seeing things in us and they're kind of like, I don't know if I should say something. I'm not sure what it is. And then they say it and they can be validated at the doctor. And he's like, yeah, that's Parkinson's. The doctor's like, okay, I knew it. Like I'm not crazy. I did see Brian, he is getting hyper, like Lori, we talked about it that time when she was on the air, and she was saying like, I was noticing Brian was getting like really hyperactive, like, or getting, overdose and signing up for things like, hey, we'll do this, or like, and but by that being validated, that you know what, Lori, you're not wrong. Like that was happening. That Brian, and here's why it was happening. It was like, wow, cool. Like I'm actually like it's good for them too, right? It's a victory.
Absolutely.
Totally. And if you're a caregiver watching this, we want to hear from you too. You're such an important part of this journey for all of us. Drop a comment. What's the one thing you've learned about supporting somebody between those appointments? Is there anything that you do, things you've learned, advice you could give other caregivers on what they can do between appointments and how to get ready for that next appointment? That would be huge, wouldn't it, Brian?
Oh, please do.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. Please.
I know it's crazy, right? All right. Well, that's the thing. So let's turn it over, Brian. It's now your turn. You've been watching this. It's your turn. Share in the comments. What's your biggest challenge between appointments? And what's the one victory that you've had recently? I promise we read every single comment. And you know what? Half the time your stories give us new ideas for these episodes, right? So let's keep the conversations going.
Yeah. If you find this helpful, hit the like button, please. And subscribe if you haven't already. And share this with someone who could use a little support today. Because we love to pay it forward through our friends like you guys on this podcast with us today. So please don't be shy.
Absolutely. And Brian, you know what? I actually have a Bryce-ism. I'm going to throw it out here, right? And here it is. With Parkinson's, life isn't measured by appointments. It's measured by the moments you refuse to let Parkinson's steal. And there you go. There you go. All right. Well, listen, until next time, keep showing up, keep laughing, and as always, keep doing life today, and always live your life in motion. We'll see you next week, Brian.
You bet, bud.
Okay, buddy.
You did it. You made it through another episode of Life in Motion. That's 20 to 30 minutes you could have spent folding laundry, Googling your symptoms, or rearranging the 14 pill bottles on your nightstand. Instead, you hung out with Bryce and Brian. That's friendship. Or questionable time management. Either way, we're grateful. Be sure to follow the show, leave a review, or just yell, "I have Parkinson's and I'm fabulous," into your backyard. We'll hear you. Probably. New episodes drop regularly, unless we both forget. Until next time, keep laughing, keep shaking things up, and if you find our train of thought, please return it.